We're going to be diving into the history of our two-tailed friend to figure out what went wrong in his design and try to modernize him in a way that makes him go from this to this. This is Tails, the Tactical Explorer. Hello, welcome back everyone to 100% free premium content brought to you by me, Mr. Bane. Today we're going to try and rebuild Tails into the modern era for my own fan game, Sonic Momentum. Many of you wanted to see my process for designing the Sonic cast, so I thought why not bring you guys along for the journey. The creative process is actually pretty self-explanatory, but what takes the most time is actually playtesting the initial ideas, which will be shown later in this video. When I first begin designing the character, I will list out a couple things that the character is known for. This can be movesets, thematics, story, to hone in on the identity of the character. I also note things that I want to avoid or issues that the character has nowadays. You know what I'm talking about. With Tails, there's two big overarching ideas I had in mind. One of them being I wanted to move him further from just being a background sidekick and continue along the adventure storytelling, with hints of some character development from Sonic Lost World. I want his gameplay to feel tougher, but still parallel to Sonic. The other aspect is that I want him to be an easier character, someone you can pick up and play, which would give the opportunity to explore the new environment Sonic Momentum has to offer. To me, this meant making the controls similar to the Genesis-styled physics. Now comes building the concept for the move list. This begins with, of course, adding Tails' flying ability, because, well, he's known to fly. It's literally pretty much everywhere you can see him in, but I want to focus on expanding this. Like, what if he can boost in the air, like in Project Hero? The other part to think about is the combat, since Sonic Momentum introduces more combat than usual. Yeah, I know, the C word, don't come for me. Instantly I thought of drawing ideas from Tails' mech in Sonic Adventure 2, but without the mech itself. And I knew I wanted to bring back Tails' blaster from Sonic Battle, which would be a perfect fit for this shooter-esque style I had in mind. Now this led to a potential problem. Many of you might have seen the video where I first showed off Tails, but this first iteration of Tails was never released as there were some major problems with the handling. Tails felt too much like a Mega Man clone, and didn't work well with the physics of the framework, because the way the characters move in the Sonic game is quite fast and less strict, making it absolutely difficult to aim. To attempt to circumvent this issue, I added a lock-on mechanic like in Adventure 2. However, it completely ruined the flow for Tails. You would have to position yourself in the exact spot for way too long. Not only that, but spamming the shooting mechanic was too easy against many enemies, and it didn't require much thinking at all. As for his boost mechanic, I felt there wasn't a practical use for it other than going fast. These things might have been better in a 3D environment, but when it comes to 2D, it becomes unintuitive when you can only maneuver around two axes? But what I loved about this iteration is the concept of the dummy rings being a missile. It's a nice combination of two of Tails' iconic abilities, the dummy rings and the mech shooting, and it felt like a good evolution of his kit. On top of that, one of the random new things that I added was his rocket dash, as it was actually borrowed from Sonic Colors. I felt it was extremely fitting for Tails to quickly get some serious vertical height while giving up some horizontal movement. So this is something that's completely unique I definitely wanted to keep. But then, the Momentum framework completely changed. Iteration 2 came after some major changes that I made to Sonic Momentum in terms of its combat, and it left Tails in a completely bad spot. He was even worse and clunky in this new environment, and I was thinking of completely scrapping him altogether, along with many of the other characters. I just couldn't figure out how to preserve his movement in this type of environment. But then one day, I randomly came across something that gave me a friendly reminder. Lethal League was a game I seen a couple of friends play, and it looked like such a fantastic concept. The idea of hitting a ball back and forth as it got faster was interesting. And then the idea hit me. Rather than just having the focus be on aiming, the focus can just be on timing your attack to ricochet the missile back at the enemies. This made me go on a coding frenzy, as I was super excited to try to implement something like this in Sonic Momentum. This iteration of Tails is what you can see in the demo. Once you get the SS rank and enter the code fellow yellow, hint hint. A lot of you found this concept to be extremely fun, and it removed a lot of the clunkiness and disruption from the previous Tails. It even gave Tails' tail swipe attack more of a prominent role in his kit. I removed the idea of Tails boosting, as it just didn't really make sense for his kit, and I instead streamlined things and made him air dash upwards whenever he enters his fly state, which is kind of a callback to Sonic Heroes. Now this might have made Tails just a little bit too overpowered, as whether he was close range or far away from an enemy, if he just spammed the tail spin, enemies would just be completely deleted. However, this was a fun new direction for him that I really felt was just right. I liked how the focus was, rather than facing an enemy head on, you were thinking of creating distance, which was opposite to Sonic, which served to make Tails feel a lot more independent and powerful, with impact. Yay! Now that we got all the ideas together and see what worked and what didn't work, the final step is the refinement process. After all the trials of playtesting and looking at all of Tails' moves throughout the Sonic franchise, it's time to see what all of this has culminated to. So, are you ready for the sneak peek? Because this is going to be Tails and his upcoming full release, so I don't want to hear any complaining. Alright.
Let's go! I'll do my best. Come on! Ha! All right! Let's go!
Now that you've seen this preview of Tails, if you want to learn more about how I made Sonic, go ahead and watch this video. It might be a little bit old, but this can give you a thought process on how I began Sonic Momentum. A full video walkthrough of Tails' moves will be available soon, but in the meantime, Mr. Bane out.